Hey, what's up everybody? We got a spooktacular tutorial for you today. The classic sliding bookshelf door to a hidden room. Now this thing could be open from some hidden trigger plates under the floor there. Shout out to Neba for that idea. It worked out very nicely. We've also got a hidden activation switch, but when you close this thing up, you can't even tell that it's there. And make sure to pay attention to every step of this video if you want this to work. You can see so many failed experiments. I put hours and hours into this. So if you enjoy and plan to use this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. All of this can be done with free parts and the free track in the Brick or Treat Pass. All you'll need to have done is unlock this ghoulish game room decor bundle here because we are using the Tomes of Knowledge bookshelf. And with all that being said, let's stop yapping here. Let's get right into the build. So here's a look at the material list. Now these aren't the exact counts. This is all going to be dependent on how you design it and what your building looks like. But we're going to need flexwood, wood. We're going to need blast powder, wooden rods, torches, flexwood rods, wooden planks, vines, and granite. So the pieces we're going to need to construct this are going to be an activation switch, a large dynamic foundation. We need some small simple wheels, small thrusters, a 2x2x6, which is going to be a half wall corner piece. We also have any 18x8x12 stair set. We need a 2x2x12 corner as well as a trigger plate, 8x8x1 floors. And I do definitely recommend trying to use granite or stronger for this. I do know that I have a wood piece in here, but we're going to use the granite one instead. This is going to require us to work underneath it. We're going to start by putting down our stairs. And then from here, we're going to go on over to the 8x8x1 floor piece of our choice. We're going to start one here, and then we're going to move over here 2 more pieces. And then we're going to add one here and another one on the end of that. And then from here, we're going to start building back. Now, the one thing that's important to notate is wherever you end this floor, this is going to be where our bookshelves are going to stop, okay? So then from here, I just recommend building maybe, let's say about 8 pieces. So I'm standing on 1, this would be 2. I'm placing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we're just going to build the exact same length here on the other side. Now that we have our stairs and both of our sides complete here with the flooring, now we're going to start building the actual framework in which this is going to operate on. Now, the one thing that's very important here is we do not want the frame that we're going to be building to be making contact with this section here. Trust me, it is going to fail. If you're starting to build pieces and build around it, it's a little glitch thing where pieces will crumble. Let me show you how to clip of what was happening when I had it connected right now. And like I said, if you added pieces to your build, it literally would make the pieces underneath it crumble. I had no idea what was going on, but I have to be honest, it was extremely frustrating. So again, make sure that your track is not connected to your build. And the way we're going to accomplish this is we're going to take our 2x2x12 corner piece and we're going to just place down some supports here. Now we want to definitely make sure that we have some in the corners as well, just in case you accidentally knock out your stairs. You don't want your whole thing to come crashing down. That would not be fun. Now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to actually go into our 2x2x6, which is the half wall piece. We do not want this connected to the top. What we want to do is right here where you can see it's actually connected to the top. We're going to want to bring this down slightly. So you're just going to aim your cursor at the pillar in front of us. And we're just going to slowly bring this down until we are 2 little spaces below the floor. And once we get there, we're going to go ahead and attach. And we're going to build one more to attach to the ground. And we're actually going to go ahead and knock this out. We don't want this part attached whatsoever. Next, we're going to take the vehicle base 6 and we're going to go ahead and place this right flush with the top of our post that we just put down. Now, again, the important thing here is making sure that it's lined up with your post and not touching the floor above it. Now, with the same vehicle base part, we're going to go ahead and place these right underneath the one that we just put up. We're going to nudge it forward until it turns green. And then from here, we're going to add 6 more of these vehicle base 6s right off of here. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And then we're going to jump up top here. And this time we're going to turn this horizontally. And we're going to place this right over the top of this last one and just have it lined up flush with the back of that piece. Let's drop down. This is how you should be looking at this point. Now we got to build some bumpers because I don't know what's been going on since the update, but you look at the pieces the wrong way and they end up crumbling. So what we're going to do here is grab a simple wheel from the toy section. This is actually the small simple wheel. We're going to snap it into this piece here and we're going to nudge it over till it's red and then come back 1 until it turns green and place that down. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Nudge it out till it's red, come back until it's green, place it down. And we're going to do the same thing on the opposite end. Now it's time for our large dynamic foundation, which is in the toy general menu here. And the idea for this one is we're going to want to snap this in place right on the center of our track there. So not only do we want this center from right to left here, we want to also center from right to left on this angle as well. So if you don't have that center on both ends, it will not work properly. So feel free to break the piece and replace it down as many times as you need to get that right. Let's grab our small simple wheels now, and we're going to start to secure this to the track. The way we're going to do this is by placing the wheels right on the outside edge of the dynamic foundation, but not actually like into the track like you're seeing here. We're going to want to nudge it slightly back to where it's just barely touching it. We're going to do the same thing on the other side here. Again, making sure that we are right on the edge and nudged out just to where we're barely touching, and the same thing on the other side here. Now this part is going to be dependent on where you actually want this door to be sliding. So if you want it on the side that you put your stairs, what we're going to do is we're going to go around to the back here, and we're going to place a tire where it's going to be center on the actual dynamic foundation between the two we just put down. But this time we're actually want to nudge it to where it's touching the actual frame here. Now if you want it to actually be on the opposite end of the stair set, then what we're going to do is do it on the other side. Now what this is going to do is it's going to slightly pull it forward. So since we're actually going to be doing it on the stair side, let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and place this piece in the center, and right there you'll see that the dynamic foundation is going to slightly pull backward. And now what this does is it gives us a little bit of clearance to where when we put our bookshelves on the dynamic foundation, on those studs here, it's not going to be connecting to the floor, because if you're connected to the floor, this thing will not move whatsoever. Next, we're going to grab the small thrusters from the toy menu, and this time we're going to attach these over here onto the dynamic foundation, and we're just going to nudge it to the outside edge there. You do not want it hanging over the edge. You almost want it pretty much lined up with the outside edge, or as close as you can get to that. We're going to do the same exact thing here on the other side, and then we're going to make our way around to the opposite end and do the same exact thing. Now, real quick, I do want to point out sometimes these will not turn red. What I suggest doing is just kind of moving your character around or letting off snap mode and then just readjusting until you can get it to turn green. Now let's head up top. We're going to take the small thrusters again. This time we're going to snap these into the center of the dynamic foundation between the two thrusters we just placed down. Now you're going to notice it does not appear center on the track, but that's totally fine, because if you remember what we did here, when we placed down that tire in the back here, it pulled this slightly back, and that's why that doesn't appear to be center on the actual track. But the key again is just making sure that these are good and center on our dynamic foundation and lined up on the exact same position on both sides. So let's go take a look here. This is exactly how your thrusters should be looking. Now for the final step on the tires here, we're going to go back to the small simple wheel, and we're just going to put this right on the center like we did on the opposite end. We're going to nudge it in until it turns red, and then just nudge it back one and place down our tire. Next, we're going to tune one side of our thrusters here to channel 1, so we're going to turn off channel 3 and kick on that channel 1 for all 3 of them. And we're just going to leave the other side alone. These are always going to just be defaulted to channel 3. Now, as you can see here, I did remove my stairs because they're going to be in the way of this next part. And I also added 2 additional supports here because I was getting a little nervous only having these 2 available. And so what we're going to do next is just grab the 6x2x1 floor piece. It could be any type. Again, try to use granite. I just think that the more durable, the better. And we're going to line this up with the center of the dynamic foundation. And we're going to move this thing up slightly until we're lined up right with the top there. And then we're going to nudge it out until it turns green. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side using the same floor piece in the exact same position. Now, if you are in survival, if you don't have stairs, you're going to want to get back up here. So I recommend maybe putting some stairs on the other side here because we're going to need to get a good angle onto this piece because we're going to go back into toys now and we're going to move over to controls, and this time grabbing a trigger plate. Now the goal here is to just set it on that floor piece that we just did, and we're going to nudge it in till it's like pretty much almost hidden by the floor. And then we're going to snap that in place and put another one on the other side. And I want to give a special shout out to Neva from our Discord community. Awesome community member, awesome LEGO Fortnite player. Check this out. You can actually step on this through the floor and activate this. And I feel like I've seen this before, but I was not thinking of doing this for this particular build. So shout out to Neva for that. And then now what we need to do though for this is you don't want it to just be stationary and activate both sides. So we're gonna use our wrench to turn off channels 2, 3, and 4. And that way when I click this now, it's gonna move it off to the left here, just like that, and do the exact same tuning, only leaving channel 1 on the other side. Next, we're gonna build a little bit of height up. As you can see, this is kind of chilling down a little bit lower. We wanna bring the bookshelf up. We don't want it buried too deep into the floor because it'll look really, really weird. So where we're gonna do this is grab just the 6x2x1s that we used for our trigger plate there. And we're gonna just nudge these in just on the inside of that gray line there. We're gonna nudge it forward until we're on these studs here. You don't want it inside like that. You want a little bit of a gap there. We're gonna place one down here. We're gonna do the same thing here. Place that down. And then from here, what we can do is we're gonna go into our menu here. We're gonna filter down into the frightful furnishings. Now, if you don't have this unlocked yet, you're gonna need to be having the... So the bookshelves we're gonna be using are actually from the frightful furnishings that can be unlocked using the LEGO Battle Pass. This is the Bricks or Treat one. Now, there are some alternative options that you can find here inside of the furniture display section. Now, this one here again is gonna be the Tomes of Knowledge. And the placement for these is gonna be right lined up with the outside edge of the dynamic foundation. And we're gonna be able to perfectly fit 2 of these side by side. Stay away from that thruster plate if you can avoid it. We're gonna place another one right here. Now, this time what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually go back to toys. We're gonna turn off our filter and we're gonna go over to controls and we're gonna grab a switch. Now the switch is gonna be placed right here on the side of the bookshelf. And then this time what we're gonna do is we're gonna activate this one, or I should say not activate, we're gonna tune this one off of channels 1, 2, and 4. And now what this is going to do is it's going to actually move our stuff over to the right by activating these other thrusters here. All right, everybody, I cannot stress enough about the importance of these next few steps. Make sure you pay close attention because if we make the wrong moves, we are going to set ourselves back a ton of steps, including all the mechanical pieces that we've already laid down underneath here are going to explode and you're gonna have to start that part all over again. So trust me, do not skip these next few parts. Now, I wasn't lying about the important parts to come, but this one came up and it is equally as important. I did make a minor mistake, so please don't be mad at me, but it's super easy to fix. The bumper we did here off to the left-hand side, we're actually gonna get rid of this, and we need to take that same vehicle base 6, and we're gonna go ahead and extend this by 2 pieces, and then we're gonna just rebuild that bumper here on the end using the vehicle base 6 horizontally, and then we're gonna go ahead and add these in. I'll explain in a moment why we had to do this. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna place some corner pieces to close up our gaps. Now, this wouldn't be a hidden room or a secret at all if you could see right through, especially if you have lights behind there. So we're gonna take care of that. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna step on our thruster and we're gonna send this thing off over to the left for now, because the problem is if we put down a corner piece that's even anywhere near the bookshelves, it will literally explode all those pieces like I was talking about. So the first one we're gonna put down here, it could be any 2x2x12, just make sure it matches the building that you're putting together. And so we're gonna find this corner right here. We're gonna line it up with the corner. We're gonna nudge it over just one. So there's gonna be a little slight gap right there in this corner. Totally fine. That's exactly where we want it. And then what we're gonna do to find our spacing on the other side is we're actually gonna put this here right up against it, and we're gonna nudge it towards us too. And then we're gonna place this one just on the inside of this post here. And now what you'll see is when we bring this back over there, now that we set them when this was not nearby, it's not gonna make contact with or even near the bookshelves, keeping all of our mechanical parts intact. And as you can see, it is super clean and covers the gaps entirely. Next, we're just gonna go ahead and get rid of that support beam that we had for spacing. We no longer need that. I highly recommend being very careful if you're using a pickaxe though, because you don't wanna go breaking these pieces on accident. And now that our bookshelf is in the position that we needed it to, and we've got those 2 posts in, we're gonna get rid of this bumper again, and we're gonna reset this back to how we had it. The reason we had that there to begin with was so that we can move this far enough over to where we could actually place this post down without making contact with the bookshelf. So all we're gonna do now is we're gonna get rid of the 2 here on the end. So this would be 1 and 2. You can count by just looking at those little tan pieces. So let's just knock these out. And then we're gonna rebuild our track bumper right here on the end like we had it before. Now, the reason for this too, and I'm gonna show you, Once you get this into the right position, now once we go ahead and move this on over, it's gonna stop just on the inside of this post. That way we're able to access this switch from this side of the room, whereas before, when it extended all the way back here, it would be hidden behind our wall and our other bookshelves we're about to place in. Now I want to show you a subtle design of hiding this away and having it blend in with your room so it's not very obvious. Now this is all pretty much up to you at this point on how you want to do it, but this is just definitely a great suggestion on a design. So what we're going to do first is start putting in some additional floors for our room. We can build these all the way out if you would like. I'm using the 16 by 16 by 1 and just extending it. Now again, this doesn't have to be how you do it, but this is just kind of what I'm doing to demonstrate. Room size together here, we're going to go over to the Tombs of Knowledge again and use the same bookshelf or whatever shelf design you chose to use the same one, and we're just going to nudge it one space right behind this corner post here. We want it to basically mirror the exact shelves that we put together to begin with. We're going to put another one right next to it and then go back to whatever 2 by 2 by 12 you used. We're going to place it right up against it on the inside there, just like that. And then you could really just leave it like this, but why not? Let's just go add a whole nother set of these. We're going to put 2 more side by side, just like this. And we're going to put another post here right up against it. And then let's do a couple more on the outside here. We can maybe extend this slightly with the floors. Let's just pop one in right here, whatever. We're just gonna, again, this is just for demonstration purposes. And then for this one, we just have to do it slightly different. So we can't really put this behind the post because unfortunately it'll make contact with the other one that's sliding back and forth. So we're just gonna have to nudge this over just slightly like that. And then it looks like we need more floor pieces here. And then we're gonna add a second one here as well. And you could feel free to make this as large as you want, but we're just gonna end it here and we're gonna cap this off by putting another post there. Now, don't worry about these walls. I'm actually on the opposite end of our secret door here. We're gonna use a 2 by 12 by 1, and we're gonna go ahead and place 2 of these here. You just cannot make contact with the bookshelf. And then we're gonna move back on over to a 6 by 2 by 1. We're just gonna place 2 here. What this is gonna do is just gonna reduce the little bit of the gap that you gotta jump over before you enter your secret room. All right, everyone, here we are. This is getting spooky. The sun is setting, and this is just to give you an idea of what it can actually look like. Now here is our secret door. All we need to do is step on here, and just like that, we have our secret lab hidden back here with all the awesome Frankenstein pieces from the Brick or Treat Battle Pass. These pieces are incredible. If you enjoyed this build, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. It definitely helps me out. And also check out some of the other tutorials and content I have. This is a LEGO Fortnite specific channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in again. This is Haskin signing off. I will catch you all in the next one.